For years, the truth stayed hidden, the victims forgotten, the cases left cold, until science revealed what time could not. This is Decades in the Dark, where cold cases are brought back to light. It's February 20th, 1987. The town of Niles, Michigan is quiet on a winter night. Roxanne, Roxie Wood, just 30 years old, has dinner out with her husband, Terry. The two have been married for 8 years. By all accounts, they're a close and happy couple, building a life together. After dinner, they head home. But Terry decides he isn't done for the night. Like many evenings, he drives back out to the casino across the state line in Indiana, a regular habit of his. Roxanne stays home. Sometime after midnight, Terry returns. What he finds is a nightmare. Roxanne is lying on the kitchen floor. She's been brutally attacked. Her throat is slit, and she's dead. Investigators believe Roxanne was attacked almost as soon as she entered the kitchen. The intruder had likely slipped in through the back door after Terry left, planning to steal valuables while the house was empty. But Roxanne surprised him. There may have been a brief confrontation, a struggle. Forensic evidence suggests she fought back. During that struggle, the killer cut himself. It may have happened as Roxanne grabbed at the knife, or as his hand slipped on the blade. Either way, a drop of his blood fell onto the linoleum floor just a few feet from where Roxanne's body lay. Police noticed it and collected it with the rest of the evidence. But in 1987, DNA technology was still in its infancy. The blood was preserved, sealed away in storage, but investigators had no way to use it to identify the killer. That single drop would sit for decades, waiting for science to catch up. And when it finally did, it broke the case wide open. The rest of the scene gave almost nothing. No weapon, no footprints, no fingerprints, no forced entry. It was as if the killer had appeared and vanished without leaving a trace. And that's why people in Niles began calling it the perfect crime. Detectives dug into the couple's relationship. Did Terry and Roxanne argue? Was there trouble beneath the surface? Neighbors whispered. Rumors swirled. But when investigators pressed, they found nothing. Friends described the Woods as a loving, supportive couple. No signs of infidelity. No history of violence. No hidden conflicts waiting to surface. The only thing detectives could point to was Terry's gambling, and that didn't help his image. Investigators wondered, was the casino just a cover story? Did he really go there that night? The problem was, in 1987, casinos didn't have today's wall-to-wall security cameras. Back then, surveillance was limited. Maybe a few cameras on the cash cage or front door, but not enough to track every patron. So there was no hard video evidence to prove Terry had been there. Without footage, detectives leaned on witness statements and Terry's word. That uncertainty kept the spotlight on him for decades. But they could never prove he did it. The crime scene gave them nothing more. The case went cold. Then, technology caught up. In the 2010s, investigators began looking at the evidence again. Blood found at the scene, not belonging to Roxanne, was tested. It was male DNA. But there was no match in CODIS. That's where genetic genealogy stepped in. Investigators partnered with Parabon Nanolabs, using the same techniques that identified the Golden State Killer. Family trees were built, distant relatives traced, and eventually the branches narrowed down to a man named Patrick Gilham. In February 2022, 35 years after Roxanne's murder, Gilham was arrested at his home in South Bend, Indiana, just 15 miles from Niles. Back in 1987, he had lived in the very same city as Roxanne, hiding in plain sight. For decades, the community assumed the killer had to be Terry or someone within the couple's circle. But in reality, it was a local man, blending into the background, evading suspicion, and living quietly just down the road. Gilham was no stranger to the law. Over the years, he had a record of burglaries and petty crimes. Nothing had ever tied him to violence this extreme, but his pattern fit the story. A man who slipped into homes looking for easy opportunities. He was now in his 60s, a quiet, seemingly unremarkable man with no known connection to Roxanne or Terry. But investigators said his DNA was a perfect match to the blood left at the crime scene. Gilham admitted he was in Roxanne's home that night, but claimed it wasn't supposed to happen. He said he broke in intending to steal, but when Roxanne caught him, he panicked and killed her. In 2022, Patrick Gilham pled guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 23 to 50 years in prison. Today, Gilham is serving his time in a Michigan state prison. He will be in his 80s before he is even eligible for release, if he lives that long. For Roxanne's family, it was bittersweet. Her brother Brad said, "I never thought this day would come. 35 years of living without answers. And now, we finally have them." And for Terry, the husband who lived under suspicion for more than 3 decades, the truth finally set him free. For so long, people said Roxanne's murder was the perfect crime, a case that would never be solved. But DNA had the final word. That one drop of blood, left on the kitchen floor just feet from where Roxanne fell, was enough to unravel the mystery. It wasn't perfect after all. This is Decades in the Dark, where science brings the past to light. Subscribe for more stories where justice never expires.